Us here on YouTube, we're just average Joes talking about the topics that we enjoy, whether it's ourselves, whether it's Yellow Flash or Drunk 3PO or Geeks and Gamers or Doomcock or Nerdrotic or whoever out there, right? Wall Street. When Wall Street starts talking about stuff like this, that's when you pay attention, right? Because we can sit here and we can discuss these things inside of our own, I don't want to say bubble, but inside of our own circles of friends and family and fandom. Understand that when the street starts talking about stuff, when the street starts saying that Disney Plus has a problem, when the street starts saying that Star Wars has a problem, that's when when things start turning a corner, right? That's what we talk about here on Valiant Renegade. That's what Pro talks about on TPP. That's what Jonas talks about. That's the difference.
When it goes from fans to finance, that's when stuff starts happening.
Absolutely. So when we start, it's like the old expression, you start, messing with another man's money or another man's wife, that's when it gets real, right? So that's where we are. And that's why Nelson Peltz is here. That's why, and I see people out there.
Is he in StreamYard?
We should give him an invite.
God, that would be so amazing, wouldn't it?
One day.
Oh, one day. Maybe when Bob Chapek's NDA expires, I swear to God, I'm going after him. I'm get him in here. But that being said, Nelson Peltz, and let me address something real quick. A lot of people have asked me about this. They talk about, they don't like the term activist investor because it has a negative connotation. Let me explain what the term activist investor means. There's nothing negative about it. And I can't help if people assume it's a negative word. It isn't. It simply means you need to understand the difference between a passive and an activist or an active investor. A passive investor is the average Joe, right? If you go out and you were to buy 10 shares of Walt Disney Company stock, and you're going to put that in your brokerage account or your IRA or something like that, you're holding the stock. You'll get your voting proxy, when things come up like the annual shareholder meeting here in a few weeks, and you'll vote or you won't vote. You're a passive investor. You're purchasing the stock in the hopes that it grows down the road in the future and it goes from $110 a share where it is now to maybe $120 or $200 a share once again. If they bring back the dividend, you're hoping for that. And that's it. You're passive. Nelson Peltz is, I'm going to go buy Disney stock, and I actually want to be a material participant in the direction of the company. He wants to be involved in the overall, corporate management. He wants to be on the board. He wants to set, the mission statement for Disney. He wants to be a part of the big picture of where Disney is going. That's it. That's all it means to be an activist investor. That's it. That's the
reason
difference.
I've taken umbrage with that terminology is because what has happened is that when this gets reported by very young reporters, I'm assuming, very young journalists, they spin that term as if it's the same as political activism.
Right.
And so they put it into a sentence, and then they directly go into the political ties, the political affiliations of Mr. Nelson, Mr. Peltz, and then they run with it. And the average person does not know the distinction that you just described.
Correct. Yeah, and that's what's frustrating. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I've been kind of, very soft-handed with addressing those concerns, just because the word activist these days, like if you think of an activist judge, right, or an activist Supreme Court member in the United States, completely different connotation than what we're talking about here as an activist investor or an active investor. And that's why I bring that up, right? And that's probably something I should clip right there and turn that into a little YouTube short or something for Renegade Online. That'd be perfect for something like that. Is to make sure people understand the difference between passive and active, right?